So you're moving to the North Atlanta suburbs and you're considering buying new construction. I totally get it. Having new construction really does provide a peace of mind, low maintenance costs, warranties, and the ability to customize, which can be really, really appealing, especially with the rising costs of renovations and older home maintenance. However, the process is not always easy and it can take a lot of buyers by surprise. So today, I'm going to show you why you should not buy a new construction home in North Atlanta. And stay tuned because I'm going to share a secret that will save you a ton of money and headaches. All right, so number one, the first reason, and this is one of the most common reasons not to buy new construction. So picture this, you found your home, the contract is signed, and you're counting down the days for your closing date. Yay! Well, be warned, timelines in new construction are not guaranteed. If there are labor shortages or supply issues, this can really slow things down. And not to mention there are many behind the scenes inspections that can delay the process. So you really must have local knowledge about what's happening with the builder supplies and how the local building department operates. For instance, here in Cobb County, it's a pretty straightforward process for checking and providing code standards, which allows the construction process to be smoother, at least in my experience. That said, Fulton County is much larger and has stricter standards, and overall, it's a more rigorous process. Knowing these intricacies in advance can really help set you up with realistic expectations and help you prepare for any delays. Options like leasebacks on your current home or short-term rentals nearby can really provide buffers and reduce stress. I had a friend who was dreaming of their new home for months, all right? They waited 8 months for the completion of the home and then closed 3 months late. And this was because the custom garage doors were stuck in a container ship circling the port of Long Beach. Like, you really just don't know what can happen. So by the time that the doors showed up, she loved them, but had lived in her in-laws' basement for about 6 months, and she was just really not sure it was worth it. So if you're not okay with a bit of uncertainty or don't have flexibility in your timeline, then listen, do not buy a new construction home in Atlanta. By the way, my name is Allison, and I'm a local realtor and mom living in the North Atlanta suburbs. My partner and I specialize in helping people buy and sell homes in the area. So if you're thinking about making a move, call, text, or set up an appointment using that calendar link below. Number two, the listed base price is a gimmick. All right, so when you see new construction starting and you see that big sign go up and the post claims that the homes will start in that, let's just say $500,000 range, I would expect that you're going to pay at least $25,000 more than that. And as homes continue to get built in that neighborhood, these prices are only going to increase. Yes, builders are going to raise the prices as the neighborhood builds up. This catches so many buyers by surprise. Plus, there's additional costs such as lot premiums, design center options, upgraded finishes, backyard amenities. Like, this stuff all just adds up and it will increase that final price. And remember, that stunning model home that you saw, it's designed to showcase what's possible, not what's standard. So always ask what comes with that base price. The bottom line is, if you're looking at new construction towards the top end of your budget and you have very little flexibility, you might want to consider a more flexible criteria in terms of size or finishes. All right, number three, negotiations in North Atlanta are really not very significant. I know you have a friend that lives in South Carolina. Maybe they got a refrigerator or $10,000 closing costs with the purchase of their new construction. But in a high demand market, like for instance, the suburb of Johns Creek, this may not be possible. It depends on the demand, the builder, and a whole lot of other factors, okay? The good news is a lot of the cities here in North Atlanta are shifting in a way that's more favorable to buyers. So it's important to take note of what's happening locally, even like sometimes within just that neighborhood, to identify and negotiate concessions effectively. The salespeople who greet you in the development are there to sell and represent the builder, not necessarily to inform you of all your options or what's in your best interests, which is also why this busts the myth of why you don't need an agent when you're purchasing a new construction. You absolutely do. All right, let's talk about number four. Your home inspection and punch list does not necessarily guarantee final repairs. For instance, in North Atlanta, you can perform a radon test. If you don't know what radon is, just reach out. But most builders will not remediate the radon, so this can cost a couple $1,000s, and really it's painful to shell out that money if you're not prepared for it. Also, as long as the builder is following code, they may not get flagged on some of the smaller items that your home inspector found. So it's important to get the builder's commitment in writing and be sure to confirm that the work was actually completed if they agree to it. I request the builder to send photos in case some of the work will be covered up by drywall or an appliance. This is why I suggest multiple inspections along the way. So if you're purchasing a new construction home and it's in the initial build stage, you want to consider a pre-construction inspection, and this is going to help you identify potential issues before the building process even starts. A lot of buyers don't know that. Pre-wall dry inspection happens right after the framing, when the plumbing and the electrical are done, and before the insulation and drywall go in. It gives inspectors and you a chance to see the structure, wiring, plumbing, HVAC, and and everything that's still visible, it's a great way to get to know your home. And then there's, of course, the final inspection. It's performed when the home is nearing completion. It verifies that the construction is complete, meets the codes, and is ready for occupancy. Y'all, this process can really be daunting, and the cost for these inspections add up. So if you are not up for this level of inspection and upfront costs, you do not want to purchase new construction. Number 5, the community development plan may not increase your property's value. This may not be something you've thought about, and admittedly, this is not a commonplace issue here in the North Atlanta suburbs, but you must research how other homes, resale, and new construction are performing within that city, school district, or neighborhood. The micro market here is so important. So look into what amenities are offered within the neighborhood and how they compare to other neighborhoods. For instance, when we bought our home 10 years ago, the neighborhood had a really small pool, and we were coming from the Northeast, so to us, it was great to just even have a pool. However, this pool's not very exciting in comparison to some of the neighboring communities. So when we go to resale, one of the challenges might be that it will turn off families with kids looking for more of a fun swimming experience, a diving board or swim team. One of the neighborhoods nearby has a water slide, and my kids who are in middle school and high school are still envious of the amenities within this neighborhood. Also, take a look at nearby parks, commercial centers, shopping, and access to highways. Growing communities with future infrastructure and recreation are going to be your best bet for investment. All right, and finally, number 6, and most importantly, the biggest reason you should not buy a new construction home. The builder may totally... I'm not trying to be dramatic, you guys, but I have seen some stuff that would make your head explode. The contract you sign with the builder is written by the builder's very expensive legal team and includes protections and really just loopholes to protect the builder. For example, the builder may run out of that LVP flooring that you chose, and they might just replace it with something else without telling you. Or that corner lot that you looked at that has a really large yard. Further along in the construction process, the builder may realize the code is forcing them to grade the land in a way that will remove the back section of the yard you were hoping to build a pool on. So I had this experience a couple of years ago when the market was really hot. The contract for my client's home said that if the appraisal came back higher than the agreed upon price, he would be responsible for paying the difference to the builder. This is highly unusual, and the builder was basically asked him to cover the equity that built up over the construction phase. Absolutely ridiculous. So the provisions in the contract will give the builder the right to make adjustments, and really at the end of the day, you just have to live with them. So staying in constant communication with the sales representative, sometimes the builder, and thoroughly reading your contract, understanding your contract, and looking at those HOA documents are going to be crucial. You must ask the right questions and know the questions to even ask. All that to say, hire a buyer's agent who has experience with new construction in that particular market. Their fee is usually fully covered by the builder in our market, and they will work hard to ensure your deposit is protected, along with your sanity. If you're still dead set on new construction, despite these warnings, reach out and I can share more inside tips to help you build a new home without regrets. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and we'll see you next week.